This meeting is being recorded.
Meters to go, led 3/4, Red Can Man, who's peppering away. Villamai the outside of the 100. Melkovic just in front. Red Can Man levels up there stride for stride. Red Can Man beat Melkovic, Villamai.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Whispers Racing Podcast. Sir John Monash Day. Got a bumper edition this week. We are previewing races 6, 8, 9. We'll go around the grounds. We'll have trial trackers. We'll get 3 out of 4 legs of the multi again, and we'll and win the show with Pineapple of the Week. As always, I'm joined by Matty. How are you, Matty?
Going well, mate. I thought Malkovic was going to get there this time.
Yeah, he just found one better again.
Yes. Well said. But, yeah, how did you go on the punt this week?
Yeah, last week was a better week for me after a couple of poor weeks. Yeah, found Mystery Shot, won by 3, ended up paying $3.80 to place. Could have got 4s at one point. And yeah, I contributed to the multi with my 2 legs, so I was quite happy with that. And then, yeah, we went head to head with Fluorescent Star and Serious Suspect.
Yes, mate. We should have taken the Quinella. Fluorescent Star obviously beating all its horses on that side of the track, but Serious Suspect on the inside just got it done. But look, Fluorescent Star was only a place for the multi. Unfortunately, we did tip it for the win. Then we got down to the Pineapple, and there were plenty of multis riding on this. And Battleton, better say it did battle.
Yeah, it was just a complete shit show. I think the meeting was, the track was, the ride was. I think we learnt 1600's not its go. I think sprinting trips are the way to go. I think you can chuck it in your black book, follow it, forgive that. It's not the Battleton that we know. It did cost us $68 multi, but best thing is we go again this week.
That's right. 3 out of 4 ain't good enough. We did learn that.
Oh, 3 out of 4 ain't bad, I reckon.
No, it's becoming a bit of a theme, 3 out of 4. So we're going to need to make sure that we land all 4 this week. But yeah, for Battleton, we'll hand over the Pineapple. I think if Nash had his time again, he probably would have settled a little bit rather than taking up the lead. But as you mentioned, I think it's definitely one to pop in the black book because we will see that horse again and it will be winning races.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully we do see it again and we can get our money back on it. I think that was 3 weeks in a row, 3 out of 4 legs of the multi. So it's time to pull our heads in and go for 4 for 4.
Yes, absolutely.
Buying shares in or cashing out, Matty, you got anything?
No, mate. Nothing in terms of buying or selling. I think it's a good time, and the approach that I'll be taking to this meet at Caulfield this week is very much around the horses that I want to look towards the spring, and if not next year, that I want to be keeping an eye on. So it's a very good time to be putting horses into the portfolio, but nothing for me this week. Worm, how about yourself?
I'm going to go with Luna Flare. I think I've listened to a few post-race shows and no one really mentioned this. Ran the best sectionals of the Winter Championship from the 1200 to the winning post. It was only first up and that was 1600. I don't think it suited it. Sat last. It was beautiful through the line. This horse is best is 2000 to 2400. Really interested to see where it goes this prep. Because I think we can make some money off it. Chuck it in your black books. We will update you in the coming shows that when it is running. A little one just off the top of my head. I always look at futures markets every Saturday night just to have a laugh at some of the stupid prices they chuck up for Caulfield Melbourne Cups. And I mentioned Le Creek in the Cox Caulfield Melbourne. I've seen it pop up in the Golden Eagle 15-1. I'll put my hand up. I should have known 4-year-old. It would have been going there for the money. Obviously, wait and see what it does first up before we dive in at that price. But yeah, definitely keep an eye on it for the Golden Eagle now. Track stats. Let's jump into this. Now, this is interesting one. This is doing my head in a bit. 12 mil of rain is predicted. Between 8 and 12, sorry. On Friday, the rain is predicted. It's currently a good 3, I'm hearing. If they get the 8 to 12, they reckon it's going to be a soft 6 to 7. So anything less, we can work our way back. In saying that, rail 3 normally favours leaders on a good track. Now, we could be working on a wet track. Question is, will the rail be off? I think it might be, but I've said it once. I'll keep saying it. It's a watch and act, and then you can make your money. But don't be piling in until we get a read on the track or you get a track condition, because you could seriously do some dough diving in too early. Trial trackers this week. We've only got one. We're going to kick things off in the first here. Number 1, Seven Sisters. It's had 3 jump outs at Flemington. The most recent one, I really liked it. 800 metres on the synthetic in a time of around 49 seconds. Went slow speed up at first 200 and the last 200 through the line. It was impressive. At around the $5 mark, it's a nice price to get involved off that jump out. Do note, I am not a synthetic to turf horse, but all jump outs have been on synthetic at most tracks. So you're just going to have to go with it and just trust that. But in race conditions, stay the hell away. Race 6, Matty, you want to preview the 3-year-old fillies over the 1,100 metres?
Yeah, mate, interesting race. Have you got the odds with you at all?
Yep, I've got the odds courtesy of Whispers Podcast.
Beautiful.
Favourite is $4. Is Miss Chrissy. Number 7, Psy, $4.60. Number 13 for Forbidden City, $11. Number 15, Nicolite, is $11. Number 4, Commands the Field, $12. And then we can have 15 plus the rest.
Interesting race. And look, a race like this, I'm really looking for horses to follow. I don't think there's necessarily anything that we're going to be diving into exceptionally hard, but there were 6 runners here that definitely did take my fancy, and some of these won't be necessarily for Saturday, just with the way that they've been positioned within the race. So of the 6, you've got No Way Ever. It's going to go forward from the widest gate, currently 18, with the 2 emergencies will come into 16. It'll go forward, and you've got a couple of other horses, Butter Blonde and Mrs. Chrissy, which I'll get to as well. But No Way Ever, it will go forward, but even though it has got the passive-aggressive form from a couple of starts ago, what I'm concerned about is its last start, where it did actually beat Commands the Field. It was such a slowly run race that it was a sprint for 200 metres, and that's all the race was. I don't think it's going to get this opportunity on the weekend. So for me, No Way Ever. It's one that I'm really interested to see how it runs. But for the weekend, it's not going to be my top 4. One that I was strongly considering, but given the fact that Lem Picker is going to be starting alongside No Way Ever, I'm not going to have Lem Picker in my top 4 either. What I did like about this, though, the last 2 starts, it just had no chance. It's a horse that will drop back, and it will drop back again on Saturday. It wasn't able to find a run within the last 2 starts. And this is one at odds that at $26, if it does get an uninterrupted run, you're going to see it within the top 5. My only fear is in such a big field, coming from the back, having an uninterrupted run, is going to be quite challenging. But Lempicker, definitely a chance to be running top 5 at $26. But Worm, that does get us to my top 4. And then, as I mentioned, I think some of these are ones that we're going to be following and some that might be suited a little bit more to this weekend. And this is one that I'm interested to see what it does in the future, but might be a little bit more suited to this weekend, is a Jason. Now, it doesn't run a bad race. And the trainer, Butch Bourne, he does not bring horses to the city unless he believes it can win. Its last start on a heavy track was quite impressive. Obviously, this is a much harder task. So quite interested to see how it runs on the weekend. But I think from barrier number 5, potentially coming to 4, it'll be the one sitting behind Butter Blonde. And if it does get some space around the bend, you'll see it in the finish. And again, at decent odds, one to have a think about. One that you mentioned, Si, last start at Murray Bridge, really lightly raced. It's going to get back up to 1100. Will suit. Won't be an issue. Soft ground won't be an issue either. And it could find itself deep into this race. Again, it's going to be coming from barrier number 4, dropping back. That's always a bit of concern. It might find a little bit of traffic. Mrs. Chrissy, impressive first up win, and definitely a lot of upside. This will be going to the lead, and does remind me a little bit of Inundation. If it's got anywhere near that class, it'll end up winning this race. I just can't have it on top at that price. I think it's about $4.20 at the moment. If this was paying $6.50, $7, it would definitely be on top, and it would definitely be a bet. Worm, the one I've got on top is Commands the Field. Now, I know this is coming from your favourite stable in Busselton and Young, but at $14, I'm willing to find out. Now, as I mentioned around No Way Ever, it was an exceptionally slowly run race. It was making ground late. If that was just at benchmark for the first half of the race, Commands the Field would have been winning and would have been overpowering No Way Ever in my eyes. It's running very consistently. It's going to get a very good midfield sit within this race, and it's going to get a little bit of cover. So in what is a bit of an intriguing race, look, the horses I want to follow for the future, Mrs. Chrissy, Si, No Way Ever. They're the 3 I want to focus on for the future. But for this, I do see Commands the Field as being the one that is overs. So Worm, look, unless Mrs. Chrissy drifts out to 6.50, I won't be touching it. Don't be surprised if it wins. But at $14, I'll be taking a 1x4 bet on Commands the Field.
Yeah, mate. Just looking at it and just looking at its most recent runs at Sandown, 1,000 meters. Yeah, it got back. I wouldn't look too much into it because it's a track that you can just sit wherever you want. So just would have put it in a nice spot. Sandown, when it won the 64 in April, yeah, it came from last, but had barrier 11. And then the 1,300, barrier 8 on the heavy, sat last, came home hard. And then Flemington just sat second last. I think they can sit closer. They won't be sitting that far back in a big field as what it is. And 1x4, mate, I totally agree. I think, as you said, you've got to have something on Lepika because it has they've raced against each other. So that is well pointed out. And I think this is going to be a race of big odds here. You mentioned number 6, Ojarson. Probably butchered it. Pardon the pun.
No, good. That was good.
its
Good,
form
good, you'll
around
enjoy that.
the the form around Hydra Star Red Hot Nick reads really well because Hydra Star ran well at Cranbourne on Saturday. Today, sorry. And Red Hot Nick race at Sale, Battleground was in that, and that ran well in the same race as Hydra Star. So at the odds, definitely going to get involved there. 100% right with Miss Chrissy. I reckon it drifts to sixes. Size an interesting one. I reckon it can sit a little bit forward with the barrier. I'd like to see him sit forward so we can see what it's got because I reckon it might have some talent, but I'm just worried where it gets in run. But number 17
You're right.
here. Hey?
I was going to say with Si, if it does sit behind Jason, it might get the toe into the race it actually needs, and more worries if it doesn't. It's going to be quite a long way back.
Yeah. One that interests me a little at odds is number 17, Luna Solar. Really good on debut. First up at Wangaratta in its maiden against Poker Scene, who's come out and won his maiden already. And then last start, I think they just got too far back. Best race went on speed. If it sits on speed, I think the double figures we can get involved. But I reckon it's a race we can have 3 or 4 bets and cheer home double figure winners.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely quite a few. And as I said at the start, this is one that we don't need to go exceptionally hard in. And you can have half a unit on a few different horses and come out well and truly in front.
100%.
It's one that I'm quite interested to see for the future, but it's definitely a race that we can be making some money on in the meantime.
Yeah, and it's a day, and especially days coming up now. Do you want to take race fitness over trials, or do you want to take trials over race fitness? You just got to really be really careful because you could do some serious dough leading up to the spring chasing. So, as I always say, and I'll put it on repeat, watch and act, guys. Watch and act and bet responsibly because you could be looking to remortgage your house. Move over to race 8 here, the Sir John Monash. I'm going to preview this, 1,100 metres odds here. We've got the favourite here, Oxley Road, $3. Number 8, Maliva, $3.60. Number 5, Ashford Street, $6.50. Number 9, Felicia, $8. And then we'll go $14 plus the rest. I think it's no surprise here. I'm really keen on number 4 here, Oxley Road. He's had one jump out at Pakenham Synth and went well. Typical Moody, one jump out, straight to the races. I don't mind seeing that from Moods. Not going to question him. Hall of Fame trainer. Last prep was a total forgive, I believe, and not many people will mention this. First up, when it raced at Caulfield, Rubiton Stakes, the inside was off. For some reason, the grass was longer and a bit wetter, so you had to be laying 2 onwards, and he was hard up against the rail. And if you remember, Moody chucked out a beautiful tweet about the track manager at Caulfield. Didn't make headlines at all. But, yeah, that was a total forgive. Second up in the Oakley Plate, he was wide, sat midfield, and on that day, surprise, surprise, you had to be on the rail at Caulfield. And he only went down by 2 lengths in the Oakley Plate, so that's pretty good going. And then the new marker, it might have been an end of prep, gut buster. Plus, he was on the wrong side of the track. So all 3 runs have been forgives in my eyes last prep. Being a horse still, I reckon Moody will try and knock off these races early and build its stud career for the .com advertisement. Winner of the St. John Monash. That's going to have a good read on .com when you're going to stud with it. But yeah, weight for age. This is a weight for age race. So it gets in really well considering that most of these are handicap 90 horses. There's a couple of others that are near the 100. That's Maliva and Felicia. Talk about those in a few minutes, but I think he's well found here. 58.5 with a handicap rating of 100. where he sits in run, I think he'll camp behind him here because you're going to have number 3, Sartorial Splendor, cross him and lead, and we can just sit behind him and see how however the track plays. If it is leaderish, we can camp behind him, peel out, or if it's rail off, we can sit behind him and be in the best part of the ground. Ashford Street should be on his outside. Felicia should be just behind them. Maliva behind them, and Asa and Bless Her right behind him. How Romantic? I don't know how. I just worry how far back he might get. No knock on number 8, Maliva. He's the clear danger. He'll be on pace like Oxley Road. Form reads well with Monash and Malkovich. No knock on the horse, but Maliva in his jump out was 0.41 slower than Oxley Road. So that's why the Oxley Road gets the edge. Number 1 here, Asa. Yes, he is a milk drinker, but the most recent jump out was really good. And I'm really interested to see how he goes. Reports are he never had a spell since May 21. He's been ticking over, so he's going to be rock hard fit. He could be one for your multiples, definitely. But he is a milk drinker and he's a horse as well. So they're there to win. So, but really keen, Oxley Road here, number 4 at the $3 quote. I think it might start with a 2 in front of it and then a 0.5. So, yeah, Oxley Road. Matty.
No, very good. Ashford Street. What's your read on it in a race like this?
Yeah, it's been a really good prep. Picked them off nicely at Warrnambool, and then last 2 wins have been nothing but exceptional. 3.25 win, 2 lengths against Starry Legend, who didn't go too well last start. I just think he's going to he's had enough. The figures I use, he looks like he's had enough. And 1,100 meters in a high-pressured race, I don't know. Yes, the distance says 8 starts for 5 wins. No knock whatsoever, but at I think it was $4, wasn't it? $6.50. It's on. I can't have a piece of that. I marked it, and people will probably laugh here. I marked it $24. It just, yeah, it's, as I said, fitness over trials.
Yep. That makes sense. As you said, it has been up for a while, and it's had a very decent preparation, winning 3 of its last 4.
Yeah, and it was in benchmark 70, 78 before it went on this run. So is it up to Group 3? No. Do the owners deserve a crack? Yeah, they do, because it's been a bloody good horse, and I'd love to own him, but not against this.
And I can't disagree on Oxley Road and Maliva. I think the market's got it about right, but as to what you said, once the punters do start looking at the numbers within this race, I think they're going to be the 2 that they come after fairly hard.
Yep, 100%. And if it is real leaderish, Sartorial Splendor might have some specking too, I reckon. You can't knock him.
Yep.
He's last start, 1,200. That was too far for him. You could see him the last 50. He was looking for the oxygen mask, but only went down 1.1. Absolute no knock whatsoever. But yeah, just not for me.
No, fair enough.
All right. As I said last week, guys, I've opened up my WhatsApp group for free. So if you want my tips, my thoughts on daily Victorian meetings, then DM me to join or write something on the socials, and I will hook you up. Last week we had 3 bets at Flemington for 2 wins, and we kicked off the lucky last. We backed Aaron Bay when everyone was with Cardinal Gem, so we finished off the day really well. We've had a quiet week just due to some poor races, but we'll definitely be looking to bet up on Saturday at Pakenham and Caulfield. So if you want to get involved, you know what to do, punters. Race 9 here.
Was it really that quiet this week? Happy Valley last night went off.
Yeah, I was sitting on the couch and I didn't know who was going on. It was just buzz, 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 buzz. But no, it was no. But everyone got involved. Like I think it was on last week. I reached out to someone on there that loves his tennis, and he told us to lay Iga, the female tennis player.
Yep.
It was coming off 36 straight wins. But he was 100% right. So there's a lot of people out there in this community that are helping, from NBA drafts to Happy Valley to tennis to footy. Like, it's a real good community. There's plenty of bets going around. And I reckon punters would be winning in there if it's not from me, it's from someone else.
Well, from the amount of action on Happy Valley last night, I kicked off very, very nicely.
Yes.
And for those who stayed up a little bit later, I think they did quite well.
Was that race one?
It was race one, number one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because the flying penis was coming out on the GIF. But no, it's good, guys. It's all free. Plenty of banter, especially when the footy's heating up. There's going to be plenty more. So you know what to do. Want to get involved? Come and talk to me. Race 9 here, benchmark 100 over the 1,400 metres. The odds here, we've got number 15. He's our Bonneval, $3.79. Laken, $7. 7 Mystery Shot. Oh, geez. You can get lots of different prices here. Ranges from a 7 to 11. Number 10, Pros Constant, $9.50, $12 you can get. Number 5, Taffy Dance, $9.50. 8, Karen, $10. Number 14, Designer Chef, $10. Number 18, Umgawa, $10. I'll stop there. It's $11 plus the rest. I think we get the gist. It's going to be it's a very even field. Keen to be with number 10 here, Pro Consent. We were on it last start. Geez, it was frustrating. Form reads really well, though, especially first and second up. Tuvalu, Ladonda V. Both have gone on to win since. Last start might have looked disappointing, but I feel he doesn't run out of 1,600. Back to 14 now. I reckon he'll suit. Jared Fry goes on. Big tick. There should be no pace early. They will try and rack and stack them, and we should be no worse than midfield. Speed map is a touch tricky. There's no real leader, and they could be looking at each other at the first 150 meters, asking, do you want to lead? But we should be there. Really nice spot. Take advantage of it. We can even lead if we want. But really keen to get involved. Number 70, Mystery Shot. Coming back 200 meters, I think it'll suit better for the horse. Barrier 15 worries me how much work it will do from the 1,400. Worried it might be an afterthought as well. Keen to take on and lay number 15. He's Bonneval. He got a peach from Froggy last start when all the horses were held up. He was just going around them. Now draws closer to the inside, and he might be held up this time. Certainly won't be getting the perfect spot. Certainly won't be getting the perfect ride. It's going to have to be a Froggy Newitt 10 out of 10 ride to win this, but I'm keen to take him on at around the $4. But I'm really keen 1x3 on Pro Consent here. Matty.
As you mentioned up front, wide open field and finding some value to close out that day is definitely the way I would have been going here as well, because I reckon I've backed half this field before.
I was taking notes on how many. I reckon I've nearly backed them all in this race.
So it's going to be interesting. Look, you can make a case for quite a few of these. And as you said, kind of Froggy Newitt at 420 isn't somewhere I'd like to be leaning. Mystery Shot, who have been on board for a while. Again, I think last week was its big opportunity. So, look, I'll be following you in this race, Worm.
Yeah, the thing is, where do you start? Where do you finish on this race? Mr. Exclusive, yeah, he was unlucky, but Tatum Bull goes on here now, got 50 kilos. Yeah, that's good, but Tatum Bull in the city, I don't know. Ungawa, nice win last start. Polanco, it was unlucky last start. Like the Tassie horse, Take the Sit. He's been really good. How do you align the form here with Blaze fourth? Yeah, he's won by 3.5. He's probably one you want to have on side, but barrier 16. Bam's on fire. His best could win this. Curran, he's a money muncher. Tavi's dance best. He's could be good enough. Oh, mate, where do you stop? Where do you finish? But I'm pretty keen here. Consent to round out the last. Around the grounds, Matty,
And
where do you want
Lindsay,
to go?
well, just to round that out, we've reviewed 3 of the 4 legs of the quaddie. So I think what we've done there is given you a really good indication of what needs to be done for those quaddie legs. And for that last leg, you might want to go a little bit skinnier and go just a few at odds. If you are still alive going into the last leg, you can always take a couple of others just to offset. But it's just a different way to play that quaddie leg.
Yeah, definitely. You can play 3 or 4 quaddies, take field in one of each of the legs, and hope you get the next 3.
Around the grounds.
Yeah, you kick things off.
Very good, mate. I'm staying in Melbourne. I don't tend to like to just stay in Melbourne. I prefer to head up a little bit north, Sydney, Brisbane, but given the track status at the moment, I'm quite comfortable to stay in Melbourne. We're going to go race 3. And I know there is one here that quite a few people do like, with the favourite being Oceana Blue. I'm not as big a fan as some of the other pundits out there. And I think I'll be landing on one decent odds. It'll be Jenny Ferentia or Ferenti. Solid win at Swan Hill. It's going to absolutely love the step up in distance at 2,000 metres. And I'll be playing this 1x4 at around about that $9 and $3 mark. I struggle to see how it's going to miss a place, and it will have a chance to win the race. It's going to be perfectly positioned, and it looks really well suited. So I understand how a lot of pundits have come to Oceana Blue, because last start it did get held up. It was going to finish a lot closer than what it did at Flemington. However, I don't like to be sucked in by those horses that don't get a run. So for me, I'll be taking on Oceana Blue in this race, and we'll be playing the 1x4 on Jenny Ferentia.
Yeah, don't mind it, mate. Just a quick review on that. Oceana Blue from barrier 1, they've surely got a lead. They won't be going back. But really like what you've put out there, Matty, because the second horse from Swan Hill came out and won at Cranbourne today. Won nicely. Remember, this horse started $2.20 against British Columbia. Now, he's a off-peak racing horse, and Willow goes on board. Tick. He'll be hungry to hit the ground running. 1x3 again, punters. I think we can get a result again. No surprise here where we're going, punters. Randwick, race 8, number 15, Chief Altoni. We have to go again because he owes us and the listeners from last start. Thanks, Tommy Stockdale. That was a peach. We all know it was a total shit show. We've got to move on. Goes to Sydney, chasing a wet track, gets on the minimum. Now, I really like that. Wet track, minimum. It's a big tick. Stockdale off for Kathy O'Hara is another little tick. Where it gets in run, yeah, it's got to be sitting midfield. How the track's going to play, well, probably not on the inside, but I've got to get involved. I've got to get my money back on him. So that's race 8, number 15, Chief Altoni. All right, multi-time. It's 3 out of 4. Here we go. I'll go Oxley Road the win, and I'm going to throw Port Adelaide to beat GWS. Matty, you're chucking in?
Yeah, Jenny Ferenci for the place, and one that we haven't mentioned that is in the portfolio, Inundation. Now, I did message Worm very early in the week and ask if I was able to review that race, and I got a very hard no. So, Inundation, not for the place for the win. It will be winning on the weekend, and we will be putting in the multi.
It's currently $1.70 on the green tab. So I just wonder if it gets out a little bit, but it definitely will be winning. Our multi comes to $18.86. Cross your fingers, everything you need to do. Let's go 4 out of 4 because I ain't taking another 3 out of 4. Pineapple of the week. It's come to me. What are we going to do? I think there's no surprise. No, we're not going to Sydney. We're going to stick to Melbourne. We're going to stick with Moody, the Nolan combo, Oxley Road, clear class above these. Forget last prep. Did really well, being against the bias in all 3 starts. Jump outs have been good and should be winning. Should start with $2.50, I reckon, and we will be rolling. Anything else to add, Matty?
Mate, that's a really good wrap up. I like not going to Sydney for the pineapple. Let's get off those wet tracks. I think it's going to be soft 6, soft 7 at worst at Caulfield. So we'll stick to that, and I'm really glad with that decision of the pineapple. I think we're in for a nice little weekend.
No, definitely. But yeah, if you want my final thoughts, guys, you know what to do because we will be betting on the run at Caulfield and Pakenham. Thank you for all listening. I hope more importantly, we fill our pockets up and we fill your pockets up. Have a great weekend. We'll touch base next week, and we've got a little advertisement from our favourite guy to end the show.
I'm not a good person, but it just goes to show that good things do happen to bad people. So anyone out there who's up against the wall, fucking stick to it. Every cent you got, your rent, your electricity bill, if you're going to buy your missus a ring, don't fucking do it. Keep punting. Keep fucking punting.